The locksmith softened after the beauty begged him desperately. Without checking her identity, he pried open someone else's door. He didn't realize she was actually using his kindness to commit a theft. Fortunately, Lei didn't fall for it completely. He insisted on confirming her ID before leaving. Soon the thief came out with a black bag, claiming the house was a mess and she'd just take out the trash. She said her ID was on the table, telling him to check inside. Lei didn't think twice and walked straight in. But he quickly noticed the decor didn't look like a girl's, and there was no ID on the table either. Realizing he'd been tricked, he reached for his phone to call the police. But the thief called first, apologizing non-stop. She urged him to leave right away, or disaster would strike. But her warning came too late. The real owner had just returned, blocking him inside. Lei tried to explain, but the burly man kicked him to the ground, then charged forward with punches and kicks. Lei had no choice but to fight back. The two wrestled fiercely. But Lei, not skilled in fighting, quickly lost. Seeing the man try to strangle him to death, he panicked and lost control. Grabbing a screwdriver, he stabbed wildly behind him. That strike accidentally killed the man. His phone had also broken in the fight. Helpless, he forced himself to stay calm and went to a store downstairs. He asked the owner to borrow a phone, intending to call the police. But once he dialed, regret set in. No matter the misunderstanding, he couldn't escape responsibility for a killing. Thinking of this, he changed his mind. He pretended to buy some food to distract the owner. Then, when left alone, he quickly grabbed paper and wiped fingerprints off the phone and door. Since there were no cameras in the store, as long as he cleaned the crime scene traces, he could fake that he'd never been there. The thief who knew the truth surely wouldn't risk exposing herself. But when Lei returned to the scene, he heard the door opening outside. Terrified, he crawled under the bed, hiding. Two strong men barged in. They were immediately drawn to the brutal scene. One of them checked the empty cash bag. He concluded it was gang-on-gang violence, and reported it to their boss. Turns out, the dead man was a top gang member, and the gang's treasurer. Lei was horrified. And worse, they found cleaning supplies he hadn't hidden. They realized the killer might still be there. They pulled out guns and searched, slowly moving toward the bed. Lei knew he couldn't just wait to die. When one bent down, he struck first, then bolted for his life. But in the end, he still failed, captured and dragged into an abandoned building. The gang boss wasn't convinced by his story. After checking, they found he was just a locksmith. Polite questioning got them nowhere. So the boss showed his cruelty, smothering him until he could barely breathe. Lei kept repeating the same story. Eventually, he was suffocating, gasping for air. "Uncle, please," he cried. But his story never changed. The boss grew frustrated. Helpless, he asked his men for their opinion. They felt Lei might really just be caught up by accident. One suggested the victim often visited brothels, and might have drunkenly spilled secrets to a prostitute. Hearing this, the boss decided to make a deal with Lei. He'd go with the gang to find her. If he lied or couldn't, he would bear the gang's losses, and suffer the consequences. But if they got the money back,